Good afternoon, and thank you to the committee for holding these hearings and the opportunity to testify on these important matters. Voting in America today does not occur solely in person on a single Tuesday. Americans routinely vote early, in person, or by mail. Indeed, for many Americans, including those with disabilities, student voters, elderly voters, voters of color, and low-income voters with unforgiving schedules and limited transportation, these voting options are a necessary lifeline. But early in-person voting and vote by mail options are wildly uneven nationwide. While some Americans enjoy a broad range of voting opportunities, others face increasing constraints on their voting options. Early in-person voting access, which ensures that the fundamental right to vote does not hinge on one's schedule on a single day, is an essential component of our voting system. Weekend voting days are particularly crucial for those who cannot afford to lose pay or risk job security to vote during working hours. And unsurprisingly, voters of color take advantage of early voting options at higher rates. After all, as you've already heard, they are more likely to face structural barriers to voting on election day and longer wait times at the polls. Further, Black voters have rallied around Sunday voting options to organize highly effective Souls to the Polls campaigns. Early in-person voting is just as secure as election day voting, yet legislators have sought to restrict it when people of color use it effectively. In 2011, Florida eliminated a Sunday voting day after 2008 election data showed that Black and Hispanic voters used Sunday voting the most and white voters used Sunday voting the least. In 2013, North Carolina also eliminated a Sunday voting day because of its disproportionate use by Black voters, leading a court to call it as close to a smoking gun as we are likely to see in modern times. And in 2014, Ohio eliminated its Golden Week, an overlapping period of early voting and voter registration, an option that was, once again, most popular with Black voters. Finally, just this session, both Georgia and Texas legislators pushed, albeit unsuccessfully for now, bills that would eliminate or severely restrict Sunday voting. In addition to early voting, we know that equitable vote-by-mail practices increase voter participation. These practices include universal eligibility, reasonable application and submission procedures, and opportunities to correct technical errors. But once again, some Americans fare much better than others on this score. First, while most states now give all voters the option to vote by mail, 16 states continue to limit access to voters that fit within rigid criteria, locking most residents out. Second, the processes for vote by mail can make the option elusive. In Mississippi, a vote by mail application has to be notarized. In Alabama, the ballot must be accompanied by a copy of a photo ID and a notary or two witness signatures. In Minnesota, a mail ballot requires a signature from another registered Minnesota voter, an obvious hurdle for out-of-state voters. In fact, we've seen students take to Twitter to try to find Minnesotans in their area to witness their ballots. Third, states have restricted access to secure ballot drop boxes. Last year, about 41% of mail-in voters chose to use drop boxes. Yet Texas and Ohio both moved to limit drop boxes to one per county. Predictably, this hit large urban counties with the highest percentage of voters of color the hardest. And fourth, in some states, election officials have unfettered discretion to reject a ballot if they perceive discrepancies in the voter's signature, leading to the disproportionate rejection of ballots of voters of color. And while most states now allow voters to fix such issues, a few states, notably Texas and Tennessee, do not. Indeed, Tennessee's mail voting rules are a model in what not to do. The state has rigid eligibility criteria, refuses access to most first-time voters, criminalizes distribution of applications, does not allow any drop boxes, and has no process to allow voters to fix discrepancies. And this year, Georgia and Kansas have mimicked Tennessee by prohibiting or restricting the mere distribution of mail ballot applications to voters. Finally, our electoral system wholly ignores the approximately 750,000 voters who find themselves in jails on election day. These voters are largely eligible to vote, but de facto disenfranchised because jails and election officials alike have not set up systems to enable their participation. This Congress has a historic opportunity to create an equitable baseline of voting opportunities and stop the onslaught of discriminatory voting proposals. Thank you for the opportunity to testify, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.